Welcome to the pilot episode of the Ara Sport podcast. I'm Bossman here one, here with Bossman 2 and 3. But real names here is I'm Rylan here with Ali and Aasir. So
Okay.
what are we going to be discussing about today? So we will first be introducing ourselves, telling you guys, the listeners, a little bit about ourselves, what we specialize in here, and then we will talk about a few topics: Soulsborne games, Ecchi trash, and a little bit about shooters like Call of Duty and art. So I think I would let's introduce ourselves, right? So as I said earlier, my name is Rylan, and the one thing which we will surely get to in a segment of this podcast is the etchy trash. And so my specialization, I would say, my guilty pleasure is watching etchy trash, hot garbage. So I won't spill too much, but just know that I'm the degenerate on this podcast. That's the role I play here. I'm
Yeah.
that meme image who puts the finger on the glaring
The
glasses.
glasses.
I'm the
Yeah,
guy.
the
I'm the guy
glares.
in the GIF who's like, ah, I see. You're a man of culture as well. That's the role I play
Of
on this
course.
podcast. Now I pass the ball to
Okay.
Ali. Let him introduce himself.
I'm Ali. I'm a guy who likes shooters. I play a lot of Call of Duty. I used to, anyways, and I have a little bit of a drawing experience. I draw in my free time. It's like kind of a hobby to me, and yeah, I dabble. But yeah, I like doing each or the other whenever I feel like it. And yeah, I do watch some anime, but not all that much, not as much as Ryland the D-Gen over here. So yeah,
So
over
I
to
guess that
Aasir, I
nickname is
guess.
going to stick now.
Hello guys, so myself Aasir, and I'm pretty much the meathead of this group. I am into a lot of nonchalant stuff. I am into dank offensive memes. You can say I am into Souls games, which is going to be a major part of this episode today. I am really sorry that I'm not comfortable enough to share my face with you guys, but that might be something that you can look forward to in the future. But yeah, apart from that, I'm the type of guy who is gonna be into some raw stuff like doing gym
Hey, yo,
and like
what?
being just a meathead
What?
just all around. So
Meathead is
you can
what a
expect
Meathead.
some
term.
stuff from me.
Okay,
Okay.
meathead.
Anyways, now let's proceed with the podcast, guys. I hope you guys enjoy, and please let us know if you have any feedbacks. We will definitely take them from here. Yeah, over to you, Rylan. Let's proceed now.
Yeah, I want to pick apart one thing you said about what the thing you said about not sharing your face. But did you know that on video right now your face is visible on YouTube? That's a joke. That's a
Hey,
joke,
what?
guys. That's a joke. No, but
What?
Just a
seriously,
joke.
I can
Yeah,
understand, right?
do not piss
Respect.
off
I mean,
Ryland. Do
considering
not
the
piss off
things we will
Ryland.
be talking about, right? It's, I can respect the hustle of not trying to get cancelled. So, just trying to delay the time between me and my cancelment. So, okay.
It's just like, yeah, as you said, it is just like delaying the inevitable.
Yes. Exactly. Okay,
Oh,
so let's start
okay.
with the Soulsborne games, right? The games that From Software is known to release. So my first question to you, Asir, is what drew you to Soulsborne games? Like, how did you first get into them?
That's a good question, Roland. So, starting off with me, the reason I'm into Souls games. So, let me give you some background about me. Basically, I've grown up with just playing video games in general. That has been a huge part of my life. Now, what exactly attracts me to Souls games is the fact that there are two certain aspects about Souls games. So, one is it is a huge skill check, I would say, because you have to be really good to play a Souls game and to adapt to it and to complete it. So there are two aspects of it. One is a skill check that is usually like fighting a big boss. As we know it, Souls games are notorious for having these big bosses where you have to fight them, you have to get adapted to their methods, their attacks, and proceed accordingly. Another good part of Souls games is exploration because a majority of that game you're not actually fighting a boss, but you're exploring the maps and the atmosphere that they provide to you. You're exploring secrets, different type of endings and stuff like that. So that is another thing that I really do love about Souls games. But I'll be honest, the meat and bones of any Souls games is just basically dying to a particular boss for 50 times over, or even, I will be honest, the most amount of times I've died to a boss has exceeded 100 tries. And
Nice.
that
Bruh.
is a good part about
Bro,
Souls
bro
games.
is
Like,
a
you.
masochist.
I mean, that is one way to reference us people who like play Souls games, but
Souls game, yeah.
basically that is a very enjoyable part. You die 100 times. That is not the most enjoyable part, but you know what is enjoyable about that dying 100 pass is that, let's say you come back for the 101st try and you like nail each and every
Nail
single move.
each, yeah.
You nail every
Uh-huh.
single attack. You start to feel that confidence, that amount of
That.
adrenaline, that rush inside you, your blood is flowing. You
Yeah.
start to feel like you're the boss and the boss is just a victim of you.
And the
I mean,
music is
that
played
may
for you.
sound exactly like that epic music going on for you. It's
So when you
just like
enter, it's no
uh
longer for you, it's for the boss. He should be afraid of you.
exactly, it's like an Uno reverse card play that you play on the boss with nothing but just your skills, and that is one of the most enjoyable parts about Souls games.
Yo, I got
Okay.
one thing. I got one thing to ask. How did this genre change your life? This Souls like survival horror, whatever, eldritch horror, you could say. Like, how did this change your view of the world? I know it's a bit philosophical, but like, what do you think?
Did
Any
it?
So,
takeaways from this
Chief,
genre?
I'll be honest with you, that is way too metaphorical. I
Mhm.
would definitely say the way it changed my life is because it is just too freaking good. It's just way too good. So, like, your interest gets diverged from different things to these games. So, if you have any depressing part about, let's say, you have a bad day at work and you're like, man, I just can't wait to go home and clap this particular boss. I've had enough of today's stress. I'm just gonna go home and I will just like fight some bosses. I'll do some kills. I'll have some epic moments. And I believe that is one way where I feel like it has impacted my daily life. But again, that is way too deep of a metaphorical question. I would think it's more about gaming that changed my perspective of life if you're going that deep. But yeah, that's all basically.
So
Do
I
you
have a
all think we
question.
could survive Elden Ring if we were in it?
No, absolutely not. We
Why
would only
not?
I
have one
Bro,
think
have
try.
some
We would
confidence.
have
What
only
the
one
hell?
try as humans. We are not playing a game, we are in the game.
so.
No, come on.
Actually, regarding the lore of Elden Ring, it's like if you're inside the world, you are a big part about your life, which is the counterpart, that is death, is taken away from you. So, in the Elden Ring universe, death is not an actual thing. It is a power
It's
that
not.
a few select NPCs have. And one major boss has that he can use on you to make you die permanently, but that is not implemented in the game mechanics because obviously you can't just die and never respawn in a game.
Also,
Why are you
it's
buying
lore
that?
friendly
But
that you can actually respawn. That's like lore. Like you can respawn.
exactly. So to make it a lore, like I love how games do this when they put a certain aspect of the lore and they implement it into the game's mechanics. So for Elden Ring, the devs know that you're gonna die, and you're not gonna die once or twice. You're gonna die in the 100 times and stuff like that. So they have that particular lore that the goddess Marika, who is the most major aspect of Elden Ring, she's the biggest like a goddess or not demigoddess, she is a god and she takes away death. So every time you die, you are gonna respawn. That is a major part of the lore. Any NPC you kill is gonna be sent back to the roots of the earth tree and they're in the process of getting rebirthed. So that's a major part. So regarding your original question, will we survive Elden Ring? Yes, we will. Are we
We
gonna
will.
have a good time in Elden Ring?
Nah, totally,
Absolutely not.
absolutely not. No, nah. It's gonna be excruciating, at the least.
Exactly.
They say you can only fail if you give up. So technically, if you never give up, you never fail or you never lose. It's a
Oh, okay,
motivational
yeah.
quote, right?
But I guess you were the first one to say no, right, Rylan?
No, no, right. So I
You
took
were
it. I
like,
took the
nah, I
prompt too
won't.
literally. I took it like if we were humans in the Elden Ring world
I mean, there
universe.
are humans there, no? Or like every one of them is like a demigod. Anyways, that's a tangent for later. But
So I have a
yeah, it's good
question
to know.
for Aasir, right? So one of the things you mentioned earlier in your first answer was that about the two things that that make up these Souls games was that the world exploration. That majority of the time you're exploring the world rather than fighting the bosses. Now, wouldn't you say? Now, I'm not a Souls person myself, games person. I haven't played at all any From Software games. But the question I'm trying to ask is that isn't Elden Ring the first open world Souls game from Software, which allows the exploration, whereas the other games in the Souls franchise are much more linear or platform based. So there's not much of an exploration aspect there compared to Elden Ring.
So that's the catch of it, right? Elden Ring being an open world game, they exceeded their ceiling of how much exploration they can have in a game. So if you're playing Elden Ring, just know for a fact that you're going to be exploring 99% of the time, and the remaining 1% is you dying to bosses. Now, regarding your question about the other games not being open world, that's the catch, because even if these games are not open world games, they somehow have implemented so many secret routes, so many hidden treasures, so many like hidden Easter eggs that you would
That it
normally
feels
miss
like
out
that.
if you're not the type of person who is going out of your way to explore the world, to interact with the world. You're not gonna be the one who is knowing that uh, a non and like an enclosed game like let's say Dark Souls or Sekiro can have so much of like runarounds and so much Easter eggs, so many hidden secrets. Uh, so that's a very good thing about Souls games. Even though they are
Hmm.
not open world, you have a lot to explore. And I like a lot about Dark Souls and Sekiro not being open world and still having an exploration concept towards them. So you don't, it doesn't have to be open world to enjoy the exploration concept. And regarding Dark Souls, when I was playing Dark Souls 1, there are so many routes in that game, and every single route connects you to like the beginning of the game or something. Like these routes will genuinely blow your mind when you're playing the game. It's like you started at a particular place 2 hours later when you defeat the boss, and when you take a secret route from there, you're back to exactly where you were like 2 hours before, like at the start of the game, basically. So it goes
Ooh,
that much deep into the exploration part. It is one
it
of
is
the
very
games
deep.
where you need a guide or you need the internet to help you out with a lot of stuff, because the game will never explicitly mention that you're supposed to do this or that. You have
That's
to either
true.
figure it out, which a very rare 1% people do. Otherwise, you're just gonna stick to the internet, the Elden Ring wiki or the Dark Souls wiki to know what exactly something is about.
Oh, okay.
To add to the
Interesting,
one of the
interesting.
things you mentioned, right, the roots in Dark Souls. I remember once while browsing the internet, I came across this post made by a fan. They had somehow managed to play with the game files and turn the map of that game, that is Dark Souls, into a 3D model. So you could see visually how all the routes connected, all the tunnels and the paths connected. From a
Damn.
bird's eye view, and that looked really intricate. I'm like, wow, the game devs, what were they really
They're hard and soul. It's
creative
like
were
a
cooking.
passion project, you know? Yeah, they be cooking so
So
hard.
So what about what you said? I have not seen that video or image, but I'm pretty sure it is gonna look insane. Because playing that game, I realize how big those maps are and how they connect to each other. It is like watching a tree with its branches like connecting here and there and here. It's beautiful, to be honest with you.
So I wanted to ask that you recently finished playing Sekiro, right? Another
Yeah.
Souls game released by From Software. So for the listeners who may are not Souls players, right, who may have never jumped into this genre of games, so can you explain to them what Sekiro is? It's a spoiler-free story, and how was your experience playing Sekiro?
Okay, so to summarize Sekiro, let me just talk about the game mechanics to begin with, okay? So, like any other From Software game, you start off as a complete rookie, and I'm not gonna go into depths of the story because it is very complicated. I believe summarizing it will not justify whatever I'm gonna talk about the story of that game. But basically, you start off as a character called Wolf, who is the protagonist of that game. You are given an iron coat, An iron code, I believe, is a Japanese code of ethics that you cannot break at all. Breaking that is a taboo in itself. So the iron code that you're given by your father, who adopts you from a war field as an orphan, he gives you an iron code to protect this one particular guy who is sort of like a prince of that story. His name is Kuro. So Kuro has this mystical power that he has the dragon's heritage in him. So dragon's heritage is like a blessing, or it's a blessing in disguise provided by the dragon's power, wherein people cannot really die. They become like a zombified version, but they still remain alive. There's a lot of miracles happening. You can heal any wound and stuff like that. Kuro is bestowed with that power, and you're supposed to protect him. Now, as I mentioned, that dragon's heritage is a blessing in disguise, meaning it has some downfalls to it. And if humanity abides by dragon heritage's benefits, it is gonna meet its downfall. So Kuro has this motivation of removing dragon's heritage from the entirety of Japan. So the entire plot of the game is you help Kuro, who is your prince, and by the morals of the Iron Code, he is the person you are supposed to protect. You're gonna help him to remove Dragon's heritage from Japan, basically. So that's the story of the game. Now, as I mentioned about the mechanics, this game differs from the other Souls game. It is a Souls game still. If you play a lot of Souls games, you're gonna recognize immediately that this was made by FromSoft, but the reason it is different is because it has different mechanics to it. So most Souls games are about dodging the enemy's attacks. Sekiro begs to differ, in which you have to deflect your enemy's attacks with your sword, and there is a posture mechanic to it. The enemy has a posture, you
Oh,
have a posture. You cannot run out of your posture. That is fatal, and it is the same for your enemy. So the better you deflect or parry the enemy's attack, the better you're gonna get good at the game,
that
and
makes
eventually
sense.
you're
Yeah.
gonna be good enough to face bosses and complete the game. So that's about Sekiro's mechanics. Now, what I like about Sekiro, unlike other From Software games where you're just a normal guy who is like dodging to like prevent the enemy's attacks, you are an actual like an actual champ in Sekiro. You're not avoiding them attacks. You're facing them head on and you're deflecting and parrying. And the game shows, like, it goes out of its way to show how strong W- Wolf, his name, the protagonist, is really is. So really that like that is aspect of the game as well. Another thing I love about Sekiro is the final boss of the game. As we know it, From Software loves to put these like extremely cool final bosses in their games. So Sword Saint Ishin is a total badass, I would say. He is the best part of that game, I would say. That particular fight is so good to play. That is another
Oh
good
yeah.
aspect about Sekiro. It's just basically aesthetic. That entire game is aesthetic.
It's
I love
aesthetically
it.
pleasing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
I mean,
It's
even
good
if
to
you
know.
didn't understand a word of what he said, if he spoke in some, Souls-like jargon for non-Souls-like players watching this,
Yeah.
but
It
I'm
was an
sure the
insider
energy
talk
must have
basically.
come across of how excited he was, just to let you know that you have to stop
Yeah.
sleeping on it. Get on the Souls train ASAP. Try it. Try any Souls
I
game
mean,
from software.
it is one
Just
of a kind of a
give it a
genre,
try.
bro. It has
Once
its
you try,
own
you can never
genre.
go back.
Yeah.
One more thing I would like to add is people love to usually hate on popular stuff, but there is definitely a reason why it wins. Like From Software gets Game of the Year tag every passing time. Sekiro got Game of the Year. I believe Elden Ring got one
Yes.
as well, and
Yeah,
it was
Elden Ring got it
definitely
as well. Yeah.
exactly, and it was
It
It
was so
definitely
won
nice.
deserved.
over God of War Ragnarok. Imagine. I
Yeah,
mean, I'm a
Imagine.
no,
God of
but
War fan,
no,
so
but the issue is God of War
So we are
Ragnarok
arch
released by
nemesis.
the end of the year. Like it was like released
hmm,
in like November or something.
yeah,
So it didn't have that much time
enough
to like
time.
shine,
Yes,
like
yes, you're right.
yeah.
Correct. Okay,
You're right about that.
Ali, I wanted
Mhm.
to ask you, right, as we discussed in the introduction of this episode, that you're a person who loves shooting games. Now, I myself suck at shooting games, and growing up, I for some magical reason never purchased or played any shooters. So the kids who had this childhood of Halos and Call of Duties and insert shooting game a name, I never had that type of childhood. So I was just protected, I would say.
Minus the Halo, I was never an Xbox kid.
You were never
I'm
an
a pure
Xbox.
Sony kid. I'm a pure PlayStation guy.
Same. I
Yeah.
also was brought up on the PlayStation console. So
Yeah.
let me ask you this, right? So, what is like
Uh-huh.
your journey into the shooting games? Like, what is the first shooting game you remember playing that you really liked in your childhood? And what draws you to
Oh,
these shooters?
oh. Actually, it was all the way back in 2011. There was this friend I had in like my hometown. I went to him, like I went for like a sleepover, okay, and he introduced me to this first person thing, like where you can shoot people like a camera. You can just aim. Like you just aim and shoot. I'm like, what the hell? Like, oh, okay, you can do that. I was still new. I was like a kid. I was like what, like 9 years old or something. So he took me to a club cafe where like this guy, he just donates his PlayStation 3 to like people so that they can like pay for like they can pay money per hour and they can just play. So it's like a co-op lounge play thing, and they had Modern Warfare 2 over there. They had Modern Warfare, and yeah, like it was like a four-player co-op thing, and you could play team deathmatch. You can play against. You can play free for all. Everyone to fend for himself. It was so great. It was unimaginable. Like, and the graphics over at that time. Like, I was like, what is this? Am I seeing? I mean, I was a PlayStation 2 gamer. I didn't know what a PS3 was. And I was like, what are these graphics, dog? These are like real. Okay, and like after that, like 2 years fast forward, when I finally got my PlayStation 3, after begging for it, Dad, please, I need my PlayStation 3, please, 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 like I'll get good marks, I'll get good grades, please. And then he finally, decided to get me a PlayStation 3. And then, like, one of the first few games I owned back then was Call of Duty Black Ops 2. Like, that was my very first shooter game, technically. And I sucked at it, bro. I sucked. But I really liked the concept of, just your gun and the screen and the map, and like you can't even see your body, like it's just you and your gun, and you could just shoot. And it had this zombies co-op game mode that like it got me hooked so much. It's like a video game inside a video game, if you know. Like you guys played with me zombies,
Yes.
and it was
Yes.
like, how encapsulating was it? Yeah. So yeah, that's how that's my introduction to the COD franchise.
I
Yeah.
love the way you described, very abstract, childlike way, the shooter, right? You like the way you said you can't see the body, is you move the gun on the screen. It's like POV. Bro discovers a first-person shooter for the first time. What is this?
What is this? I was baffled,
Guys,
like,
did
bro,
I just murder? Did I just murder a person? Oh my god.
you just killed. I mean, like, I know you shouldn't say, but you can just like shoot at people. Like, it's something. It's like something. I've never seen anything like it at that point of time,
Another thing
and it
I
got me hooked. Yeah.
spotted that you were honest, right? You said like you're frank, and you said like I suck at shooters, and I would say most people are very prideful about their shooters, so they never admit if they suck or not. So, but hey, you said it, you're transparent, right? You mentioned the zombies thing as well and how we play zombies. So I'll add to that conversation. So as I said before we started the shooter conversation, that I never grew up with shooters, right? The only shooter I would have played would have been the battle royale Fortnite, and I sucked at it.
Oh, Fortnite.
So it is
Yeah.
basically a shooter X, building and stuff. It's the whole
This
thing.
is ancient history right here.
Okay, so coming to the zombie thing. So basically, Ali got me and Aasir to download Call of Duty Black Ops 2. Was it Black Ops 2?
Yeah, it was. It
Yeah,
was.
so Black Ops 2. And we played the zombie game mode in it, in which you basically, it's like a survival type of game mode where with waves of enemies continuously spawning, you keep getting resources.
Yep.
So the objective is to survive for as many rounds as possible, right? And points and kills
Yeah.
and other statistics.
And it gets
are measured.
harder, and the zombies get tougher, and you need to like find a way to like survive before like getting killed and stuff. It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, I can
Really
attest.
like that.
Like I had so much fun playing the game. But I never played co-op shooters with my best buds before, so it was really an exciting experience. And I remember like
Yeah.
distinctly how I was continuously dying. Like I had to be carried every 30 seconds. Like if the zombies just touched me, the zombie
I
tried, and
remember
I'm
you
on the
downing so
crawling.
much.
So,
Bro
but
was
yeah,
dying bro was on a dying spree.
yeah, I was on a dying.
So I would like to add something about that. I remember when we all three of us were playing zombies together, and as Ali mentioned, he's being very humble that he is not good with Call of Duty games. Bro, he was carrying all three of us
Oh, come on.
together. Like half of the time, you, Rylan, you and me were down. We were like licking the grounds. We were
Yeah.
on our knees. We were like
Oh.
begging Ali to, Ali, come please save us, Ali. Come on, please, Ali, save us from these zombies. And this bro is just running around. Somehow he knows how the iframes work in like some Call of Duty game, which is supposed to be something only a Souls gamer knows. He like dodges every single zombie's attacks, and he comes back, he revives you. Then bro just runs away. He brings a new gun that you have never seen before. He starts blasting, and now he's
Oh
gonna
my
mention
god.
that he's humble. Like, okay, bro.
Bro is like that meme. So, anyways, I started blasting.
Anyways,
Exactly.
Oh, that's
but
great.
yeah,
That's great.
that's what years of just training experience does to a fella. I really oh my god, bro, the golden days of Call of Duty. I miss it so much. I wish I could bring him back, but time moves on, eh?
Did you like? I would assume that Call of Duty had like some sort of an online feature as well, right? Like online play.
Yeah.
And so I think,
Oh, right. That's why I was a PS kid. We didn't have Xbox Live. We could play online for
right,
free.
right. Because
Yeah, let's
they
go.
keep talking in the pop culture about how the Xbox cringy usernames, how all the swearing and all the things you have said, horrendous
Yeah.
stuff that will come to
Oh.
bite you if they remove a transcript of those voice logs. So in your online play, like, do
Oh,
you have any
those.
experience of trash talking or receiving trash talk?
Yes.
So tell me about that a little bit.
Oh. Oh man, I had these two friends. They were like Egyptian, right? And I used to trash talk them. Like whenever they used to die, I used to not revive them. And whenever they used to get my favorite weapon in the zombies game mode, I would just end the game because I was so salty at that moment. Like how dare he get the rarest weapon and he's shit at the game, and here I am with the worst gun in my life, which can't even finish a zombie. And we used to cuss a lot. Like holy crap, bro! I hope nobody leaks that information, bro. I'll be cancelled for life. Like I'm done. But yeah, that's my experience in a nutshell.
That's great. That's great. You know,
Yeah.
how about let's change the pace and let's talk
Oh
about
yeah.
Ecchi trash, like Ecchi
Yes, sir.
trash.
Go
Oh,
ahead.
So
Extra.
I think one of the questions that everybody always wondered is where did it all begin? When did the boy turn into a man, right? When did the transition become from boy to man of culture? So I'll tell you, it's a very short story. So I remember watching anime off and on, like the big titles such as the Naruto and the Dragon Ball on the television when I was a kid. But I didn't remember any of it into adulthood, like whatever I had watched. And I thought that the titles I mentioned beforehand were the only thing that the medium anime consisted. I just didn't realize that the medium of anime was like the medium of television shows, and they had
Mm,
multiple episodic IPs of n amount of IPs. Anyway, so when I became an adult, I decided to finally voluntarily enter into the world of anime and start watching stuff myself. Right, something niche,
yeah.
maybe something nothing like the big shonen. I wanted to watch something. So I remember I'm scrolling through this website, anime website, right? I'm trying to find this
Okay.
anime to watch. Scroll. This is the first anime I watched in my adulthood. Like this is now at this moment, listeners, for context, I've
Curiosity.
watched around 350 anime. So we're talking about the first anime I watched out of this 350. Okay. So I'm scrolling on this website. I'm like, wait, what do I watch? What do I watch? And then I come across this poster for this anime. Okay. It has this very sleazy image of this girl. Okay, making a very suggestive pose. And I'm like, she has like a
Really
white
suggestive.
top, green tie, and green skirt with blonde hair. And so the name of the anime was Hajimete no Gal. That's in Japanese. The English translation is My Girlfriend is a Gal. And so basically it
Oh,
was Ecchi
I've
Trash.
seen
But I
that. I've
didn't
seen
know
that.
what
Guilty.
Ecchi Trash was at the moment, right? So I just
I've
clicked on
seen
the
that.
anime and I watched all 12 episodes. but the amount of
Nah.
inappropriate scenes that just happened, it's like, oh, interesting. Imagine like your first introduction to this medium where you're just watching stuff that is, like they're falling, accidentally slipping into these suggestive poses. And all of a sudden, these censor tags come on screen, that are like smiley faces trying to cover up parts. And I'm like, so this is anime. So I had sort of normalized. Oh,
I
this
got
is
a
peak.
question. I got a question on that. Um, do you watch ecchi anime for the plot?
So it's a yes, and it's
It's
50
a
50. So yes,
it's a
50% for the
50/50.
plot,
Okay.
yes, and the other 50 is for you know what.
Of course, of course.
Of course. Yeah.
So, what
Would
in
you be
your opinion? Oh, sorry, you were saying. You were saying. Um,
Yeah, I'm so sorry. So I was saying that in that case, would you have any examples of, let's say, edgy trash that you watch for the plot and edgy trash that you watch for the other stuff, the ones that we know what we are talking about?
I would really have to open up my anime list to really go across the infinite scroll list of.
no,
Okay, so okay,
I'm sure the
I
FBI
actually have a
agent
hard
doesn't
time
want that.
recalling the one I watched for the plot at the moment. Okay, I remember uh, maybe loosely. I wouldn't say this is 100%, but there was an anime ecchi trash called Worlds and Harem, and so I'll give a short synopsis of this anime. Sort of simple. uh, the story follows this boy in this in the future where basically all the male species has died due to some virus which only targeted the males. So and this guy, main character, was in a cryogenic sleep. So when he wakes up, he realizes that the entire world's
Wait, you're not supposed
species
to
is relying on
spoil.
him.
You're not supposed to spoil the anime.
How
Or
is
is
that
it
a
a
spoiler?
synopsis?
It's a synopsis only. I think it's the first episode.
Oh, it's a synopsis. Oh,
First episode.
I don't know. I don't know, bro. I haven't watched it. I
No,
sort of
don't
guessed
worry,
it.
it's not a spoiler. So, I mean,
Okay.
it just actually trash have spoilers, but come on, like, let's be honest here. So, anyway, so he wakes up from this cryogenic sleep,
Yeah.
realizing now he has to breed with the
The
whole
plot.
every woman on the planet to continue the human species. But he doesn't.
Yo,
Imagine being that protagonist. Every woman on this earth is just falling, like, or just putting herself in your lap, and you're like, nah, hell, move out of the way. So what is he? Why is he saying no? So it turns out before he went to sleep, he had a girlfriend or something, and so when he woke up, the girlfriend has gone missing. So he's like, you know what? I want to find her first. So he's on this quest to find her. So the first season didn't really
Loyalty.
give us conclusive answers, but that's one which was for maybe I would say the story, right? Even though there was a lot of you know what in that thing. So if I were to talk about things I did not watch for the story, then I would say it was a recent anime. An example would be Takamine-san. Please put them on Takamine-san. That Takamine-san is the name of the female
No recency bias,
protagonist.
right?
So the boy. So okay. So for context, the anime adaptation released recently. I mean, it's been a while, but still, but I had read the manga a while ago. So when I knew that this was getting converted into a video format, I was like, now you're talking. Now you're talking. So again, to give people a short synopsis of this ecchi trash. So basically, we're following this male protagonist who's like this loner introvert guy who's just passing through life, and then he so happens to accidentally watch this popular girl in her class who's top in academics, sports, and beauty and fame and everything. She happens to come into this closed sports room, and she's changing. And he was actually eating lunch in there, I mean, protagonist, and he happens to spot her changing, but he hides behind some equipment. So the girl doesn't see him there, but he sees the girl changing. And basically, if you just skip a little bit, we find out that the girl has the ability, when she takes off a piece of her undergarment, both the top and or bottom, she can rewind time to rewrite her. I know. Ecchi trash is really getting on another
Okay.
level these days. But because
Okay.
he has
Okay.
seen her naked, he retains the memories now. He is one of the second person now, apart from the main female character, who knows now that time is being reset. Unlike everybody else in the entire world who's oblivious to the fact that whenever the main female protagonist removes her undergarments, that she has a time travel back to the past to redo. So that is something because
Very
of the
bizarre.
scenes it has.
So
I
bizarre,
watched
bro.
it for the
How come
what.
people come up with this? I swear to God.
it's like It's like brain rot, but back in like the 2000s when brain rot did not exist. Yeah, you can just rewind time by removing your clothes or something.
Yeah.
Okay. What the hell? I just wanted to ask one more thing. What do you think? Like, okay, would you take away all the etchy trash you've ever watched and turn up a new leaf? Would you ever do that if you were given a chance? Like, would you take away all the experience, or would you be who you are right now? Like,
So the
So
question
you
is
mean
asking
like
whether I regret watching all of it, and I would undo it.
yes,
You are
any
giving me the
regrets?
Takaminis are like a plot mechanic right now. So what do I have to remove? Is it my tea? Okay. No, I don't think. I think I called it a guilty pleasure for a reason, right? There is a pleasure in it. I didn't call it a guilty pain. So I really enjoy it. Different strokes for different folks. So I enjoy watching. There's a
Okay, of
reason
course.
why I watch it. I would not trade it for anything in the world.
That is, of course, yeah, it's
Hmm.
understandable.
you
Yeah.
can't expect someone to throw away like 50% of their personality.
Why, bro? Violated me right now. Straight up. Burnt me to a crisp.
Bro can't throw away his personality. It seems that's edgy, I guess.
There's no
Anyways,
comeback.
I guess yeah, that's all the questions I have for you, Rylan, on your degeneracy.
So I did have one thing to talk about. So as you mentioned about that world's end harem thing, so it definitely does sound like a puberty boy's like wet dream to wake up in a world where guys no longer exist. I'm pretty sure a lot of us have had that kind of like fantasy going
Guilty.
on back when we were in our puberty through the immature stages of life. But let's be realistic. What do you think will happen if you're the only existing male in the planet and everyone else goes extinct? What I think would happen is pretty much you're strapped to like a scientist laboratory and they start to take
Ooh,
like
like a lab rat.
samples out of your like seeds and stuff. And yeah, it's not gonna be as fantasizing or
Like a
as good
mutant.
as you might think that it is.
Oh, they'll start creating like mutants out of your whatever they're gonna use. If you know.
I mean, people are gonna do a good job if they can just produce like humans with that thing, let alone mutants.
Oh yeah, yeah. I never thought about
The
that.
genetic diversity will
Exactly.
be so low, and he'll have the most amount of wives and children. He'll have the Guinness World Record.
Everybody would want to marry him, right? Before they even
Well,
start.
Oh yeah,
well,
Yeah.
right.
not
No
just
wives,
that,
but
but it is gonna cause an issue with inbreeding, like everyone having the same parent, and
yeah.
it's gonna create a lot of genetic disorders if
Oh,
you think
right,
about it.
that. Yeah,
So
yeah.
while it
That could be an
may seem
issue.
like the absolute male fantasy for a puberty boy, but yeah, if you're being real, like snap back to reality, and this is
A
how it will
national
go.
level, on a national scale, that's the worst. Like that's the worst thing to ever happen to you, bro.
So
Like,
you're gonna be strapped to like let's say a scientist like plywood, a pillar or something, and you're gonna be milked 24/7. There is no break for you. You're here to
milking
save
it.
humanity, but in ways that are not as heroic for you as it is for your little
It's
buddy.
pretty
Yeah, let's
tragic. It's
let's
pretty
be honest
tragic.
here. There is a non-zero amount of people right on this planet who would be like, take my money. I would do anything to turn that into a reality.
Bruh. Ooh, I got one question. Uh, we'd move on from this, right? If that's okay.
Yeah,
Like
sure.
the whole.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask each of you, and I'll also ask myself this one thing. Like the cringiest confessions ever. Like any one. Starting with Aasir, because he has double A's in his name.
Why do you have a beef with double E's, first of all? That is concerning. Um, a confession, I would say I like to include sauce in every single thing I eat. Be it egg, be it just rice, it can be anything. Sometimes I'm just feeling like it. I'm gonna
What?
put a lot of sauce in whatever I'm eating, and I like
It's
to eat my food cold. So if you're thinking
what
that, yeah, I
what
will provide
what?
this guy some hot,
Yo,
warm
what
food,
the hell?
No, I'm gonna wait for it to get cold, like absolute cold, where you can feel the temperature difference between your skin and the rice, and then I'm gonna eat it. So
We
that's a
bro
confession, I
Bro,
was
that's
guess.
horrific
questioning the
instead of
ketchup
cringe.
thing by actually giving us the real thing, which was the cold thing. Like, how on earth? How psychopathic is it to want your food cold?
Bro,
It's worse. It
that's
went from worst to
psychopathic as hell.
worst, worst to worst. As if the putting ketchup on
So,
everything wasn't worse enough. I have all my food ice cold.
No, no.
so before you like start charging at me with like spears in your hand, like that is the worst take ever. Let me explain to you why that is.
Okay, go ahead.
Basically, I am the sort
Okay,
of
he's
guy that
defending
does
it.
not like. Let me explain, guys, before you start
Hear
killing
me out.
yourself.
Hear me out.
Yeah, so basically, I'm that guy who
Boys, here
has
we
a
go.
sweet tooth and I like to eat a lot of sweet stuff. I absolutely hate spicy and hot food. I know I mentioned that I'm a meathead, maybe not so much, huh? So basically, when I'm eating food that is hot and if it is spicy as well, I'm gonna have the worst time of my life trying to digest that, trying to even put that in my mouth. So I just prefer it to be cold, so at least the spicy part I can taste it before it like puts me in a state where I can't enjoy that food. If
Bro
that
is a
makes sense to you.
cat. Bro is a
Okay.
cat.
So now, like a serious question, like you said, you were a meathead. So I mean, I can. It's only naturally curious for me to ask: do you beat your meat?
What? I mean,
That's out of
what
nowhere.
kind what kind of man has not beaten their meat, I
I mean,
guess.
we
Anyways, next question.
sometimes anyway. This, it's natural to beat your meat before you cook. Sometimes, to, like to break down the muscle fibers.
Oh,
Yeah. What were you thinking?
Oh,
oh, yeah, 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 yeah. So regarding that, right,
oh.
whenever I am doing like a gym meal prep or something and I'm making chicken, I usually like to hammer my meat a lot
Yeah.
until it is like flat and it is juicy.
What?
Just
Yeah,
push,
he's
And
trying to get
turn
the
that,
yeah,
juices
so
out.
crush it, you know?
yeah,
Yeah,
so like
get
when
all the
it is like
juices flowing
juicy
perfectly.
and it exactly like when it's in its best form, I like to use that meat
Nice.
to make my food. So yeah.
It's not bad, not bad.
So, a lady you want to
Oh,
follow? I mean, follow up
no,
after it.
then, no, since it's Ara, A-R-A, the middle one is
Nice.
Rylan.
Bro's
You go
pulling the
next.
title on me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
When you said cringe confession or something like that, I thought like some sort of a romantic confession, which was cringe. But I find now, of course, having heard his answer, it's just anything you do is that is cringe that you could confess. And I'm just a Chad myself that I'm having a hard time determining something cringe. Let me think. I mean, okay. So one of my obsessions, again, it's a similar food thing and a condiment thing. So what I my so we all know what Szechuan sauce slash chutney is, right? So how uh, Aasir likes to put ketchup on everything. I like to put Szechuan on everything. So okay, I'll give a few more concrete examples, right? So like we have all eaten eggs before. We've all eaten the instant noodles, that is Maggie before. So I think these two are among the many things I would say that I put Szechuan in. So I think the plain masala Maggie, the instant noodles that come, it just is not have enough masala for me. But when I put a teaspoon or two of the Szechuan chutney in there, the whole color changes. It's now blood red. It's spiced levels are through
We
the
all
roof.
know what,
And
we all know the blood red is gonna come out later that night, you know?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Even the eggs. So just plain eggs when you cook them, we usually just season them with salt and pepper, or. But for meat, again,
Yeah.
that is just not enough seasoning. So I, just nobody's looking. Let me just add a spoon or two of Szechuan in there, and beat it, and then again the whole egg turns red,
Szechuan
and now I
freako
can feel
mode.
the flavor. Again, like
That's
just one
nice,
last
that's nice. That's
example
not even
regarding
cringe to be
Szechuan.
fair. That's actually pretty tasteful.
You
That's
should give it
far
a
from
try, right?
cringe.
Before you yuck
Yeah,
my
it's like
yum,
a
how about you
suggestion.
just try it once, right? If you don't like it, you can always
Yeah.
throw. So,
Okay, my turn, obviously. The cringiest thing I've ever done. Cringiest thing I've ever done. Oh, right. Uh, bro, it's so cringe. Oh my god, I can't even. Why did I remember this? Okay, back in fourth grade. Okay, does it count as cringy if you did it in fourth grade? Just to make sure.
Yes.
Like, does it count as okay?
It
Okay,
is
okay.
cringe
I was
regardless
10.
of when it was done because when you're
Okay.
30 years old, at 2 a.m. in the morning, you're unable to sleep. It's the fourth grade memories that are coming back. Why should I do that?
Yeah. Okay. In oh my god, in the fourth grade, okay, there was this teacher, okay, and oh my god, I had like a really bad crush on my English teacher, bro. Like, holy shit, like the whole. Okay, so it was a boys only school. I went to a boys only school. Okay,
Okay.
so everybody used to like just go crazy, over this teacher. You know how every English teacher is like the best, if you know what I mean. So we used to crush over her, and I got, and like Converse, you know those sneakers, those boots.
Yes.
Those popularized around that time, like 2011, 2012. Like that's the peak era of the Converse shoes, and everybody was wearing them, and everybody was like recognized as the god of that like school, just because they own a pair of Converse, because it used to be so expensive. So like literally begged my dad, like, see, I'm begging for everything, literally. I begged for a pair of Converse shoes so that I could show off in front of the English teacher and in front of the whole class. And I knelt in front of the whole class and I said, check out these Converse shoes. And she sees and she just exits the classroom.
Yeah, I don't think I recover from
Valid crash out.
that.
Bro, I definitely think she was just shy, bro. Your aura, your riz was way too much for her. That's why she went
Obviously.
outside. Yeah.
You had that free reign
You
aura.
shouldn't take it as something. Yeah, you shouldn't take it as something cringe. You definitely like won her heart. She just wanted to like keep it aside so that she can teach, not the time for that.
She
No,
was overburdened by the
it was a
riz.
free lecture. It was a free lecture, bro. She didn't have to
Oh,
leave the class.
maybe she was just like you guys were like to the staff. You guys gave me the perfect class. Now see, I have the man of my dreams in Converse, in the best shoes in the universe. I mean, come on, that's riz, man.
I mean, she just went to grab the restraining order.
Yeah, obviously. Oh my, what the hell? Why did I
The
say yes to
riz
that?
training order, yes, sir.
The Reese training or so yeah, that's my cringe confession. And I always like at 3 a.m. whenever I get up, that thing comes into my mind and I just die of cringe. Like, oh my god, please make it stop, brain. I don't want to think about this right
Yeah.
now.
If I was you, even I would die of cringe every single time. You
Yeah,
should.
like yeah, nah.
Bro's putting
Hate
salt
that.
on the wound.
Ah, stop, bro.
Bro's like salt
I've
away
had
on this.
enough. Yours was related to food. Mine was related to an actual like cringe. Oh my
I
god.
reckon that I also have many more cringe stories. It's just that I can't think of them at the top of the mind, right, at the moment.
Well, that's what the future episodes are for, right? We get to hear all of
Yes.
them.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Stay tuned for that, guys.
The longer
Definitely.
you stick around, the more
Yes,
cringe
sir.
and cringe it keeps on getting.
Ooh, yeah. So, anyways, the host. Any more questions for us or what?
No, I think it has been a great episode. We talked about a lot of things. I think the listeners
Yeah, we
got to get
did.
a little taste of what this podcast is and what it's about to be. So, thank you
And
guys for
who we are
listening.
as the people.
We
Yep.
we three will see you guys next week, same time, same channel, same place. So, without any further ado, bye.
Bye,
Bye.
guys. Bye bye.